What's up, guys? Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for checking it out. So I figured today would be the perfect opportunity for me to do one of these beat breakdown tutorials. I haven't done one of these in a long time, so I wanted to get back into these, and especially for you producers out there that are subscribed to my channel, I want to show you guys my process for how I make beats. And I use Reason 10. This is the latest version of Reason. Now supports VSTs, external VSTs, which I haven't fully gotten into yet, but maybe I'll do some more tutorials down the line once I have started messing with some more VSTs. But let me know what you guys want to see. Comment below and, drop me your suggestions. Let me know what you think of this video. I'm always reading the comments. So this beat I titled Liddy. I'll start by letting you guys just hear it.
Kato on the track,
So yeah, you get the idea. And this whole beat really started with this sample right here. So I'm gonna just take you guys through some of the effects and my whole process for putting the beat together. It really started with this sample, which was originally, I found it on Splice, first of all. If you're not on Splice, then you're really missing out because it's such a game changer for just starting ideas and getting past creative blocks and writer's block. So I love using Splice. Found this sample on Splice. Originally was 130 BPM, so this is what it sounded like. And actually I transposed it a little bit too, so this is what it actually sounded like. So because I've been working with more samples off of Splice, which by the way, they're all royalty free, which is a huge upside for us. We don't have to clear the samples. We're free to use them commercially. And this beat is actually, shameless plug, but this beat I'm leasing in my beat store. So if you go to nastytracks.com, the link is also in the description. You can listen and download this beat and use it if you're an artist. But yeah, the time stretch tool in Reason makes it so easy to just manipulate any sort of samples, to time stretch it, flip it. Transposing is just super easy. Obviously, if you distort it too much, or if you time stretch it too much, you'll start to get a little bit of distortion with whatever sample you're using. So I wouldn't recommend, time stretching anything more up or down 5 BPM. So yeah, that's how this track started. From there, it was just a process of adding percussion. And let me solo these effects so that you guys can hear what it's doing. So this is the percussion track, right? I normally like to separate my kick from all my other percussion, the hats, the snares, and all that, just because they occupy different spaces in different frequencies. So come mixing time, it's just easier to kind of tweak. But here's the percussion track. So most of the time, I'll usually start with the snare, right? That's the easiest it lays the foundation for the groove of the drums. And I spend a lot of time tweaking my drums because for hip hop tracks, it's so crucial to have a drum track that just drives the energy of the song. That's what hip hop is. It's all rhythm based. So I spend a lot of time on my drums, tweaking my drums, making sure that they sound right. So if you're a hip hop producer, or if you make dance tracks or anything that's like really rhythm driven, spend a lot of times on your drums. It's super, super important. So I normally always start with the snare or the clap. And then I like to add my hi-hats. And I should say that I don't always quantize my hi-hats. I like the human element. Like if I'm working on, I guess a more boom bap or like Tribe Called Quest or New York, just any kind of hip hop track that has a more human feel, like a real drum kit, then I don't always quantize my hats. But for trap, hip hop tracks, most of the time I'll quantize. So I'll start out by just playing the hi-hat pattern on my drum pads that I'm tapping here, and I'll just quantize them and then add, rolls here and there manually. So after I'm done with that, I'll, add a open hi-hat to kind of help drive the rhythm a little bit more. And then somewhere along that process, I'll add the kick. Right? And then from there, it's just adding kind of different percussive elements to keep it more interesting and add a little more rhythm and texture to the drum track. Shout out to my homie Decap. Got his kit off of Splice as well, and he had some really cool shouts. And from there, I'm sure all of you have heard this sound effect before. This has been beaten to death, but I just felt like it fit so well, so I had to use it. I don't use this sound all the time, but it works so well for this track. The little Kill Bill siren. So that was pretty much the whole drum track. You can see here that, on the snare towards the end of each phrase, I added a little pitch bend. And then I have a little phrase right before the chorus comes in, where it kind of breaks down and just adds a nice little transition right before the chorus. So that part is right here. And then comes in the chorus. So for that little breakdown part, I took out all the percussion, just added that little blip in there, and created this kind of ambient bass, this dark, deep ambient bass. And that was pretty much it for that breakdown part. And from there, to me, it's really just all about adding texture. So I feel like, my whole process is like less is more. And I try to do as much as possible with as little as possible. So I added these little vocal chops. You can see that I have the panning going left and right. So if you're listening in headphones, you gotta get that stereo feel. So it's really just adding different textures and elements to keep it interesting. The last effect that I added in here was this track paired with the sample. So again, at this point, it was just adding some textures that could make it more interesting and just to fill in some space. And really, if you take out all these effects and some of these filters that I have on it, it's a very, very simple track. But with all the effects and the filters, you can add a lot of cool transitions and breakdowns and keep it interesting throughout the whole song. So I'll break down some of the effects that I have here, starting with one of my favorite plugins that I use in Reason all the time. It's the glitch effects. Right, so I've added the glitch effects racked. It's called glitch to my master section. And the only effect that I'm using on here for this particular track is the tape stop, which is this effect. It really helps with transitioning certain parts and just adding cool effects here and there. And a lot of times when you're working with artists, then it'll, inspire them to write things a certain way at certain parts. So I just really like adding them. It's definitely one of my favorite racks for Reason. I use it all the time. And then you'll notice that I have these 808 bus effects. And instead of using the high pass, low pass filter knobs that I definitely use a lot, using the Decimort 2 high quality bit crusher gives it a different feel. Like it adds more texture. So I like to use this when it comes to that effect. It adds that extra resonance, which kind of gives it that quality that I like. So that's why I use the Decimort 2. Really, really handy. I use this all the time on a lot of my different instruments and tracks to give it a little bit more texture. So aside from using it for this purpose, I use it a lot just to give texture to other sounds. So that's pretty much it for this beat. It's very simple. I just, with some cool effects and some different textures and a little bit of arrangement and sequencing, it can really keep the track interesting for, the total of 3 minutes and 13 seconds. So it really doesn't take much. I hope this breakdown helped. Let me know what you guys want to see next time. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you thought of the video. And I will see you guys again soon. Peace.